What is up, ghouls, gals, creeps, mutants alike? It is the Undead Matt here with a brand new band showcase episode. This is the show where we bring on underground upcoming bands and give them a little extra spotlight, give them a little bit of push, and give them that platform to talk about themselves and get them some more exposure. With that being said, I was also joined today by our amazing intern, Haley, and it was awesome to having her hang out with me during this experience. It was the first time for her, so it was really cool all around. That as well, we got to interview the amazing band straight from Greeley, Colorado, the Midnight Horrors. Evan is the leader of this ragtag group of misfits, and we love the shit out of them. He's a fantastic dude. The band is fantastic, and kind of a bit of a disclaimer: they're kind of awesome, and they might blow your ears away with how awesome they are. I know, I'm corny. I'm trying to get more cool with that stuff. That being said, Midnight Horrors are fantastic. Evan is fantastic, and with that being said, let's just jump into this episode: Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, and Mutants. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast Band Showcase episode. I am the Undead Matt, and if you're new to the show, or you're not new, you will know the Band Showcase episodes are a chance for us to bring on underground up-and-coming bands who we feel are ready for that spotlight and ready for a little more love. Today is a great opportunity, because not only do I have our amazing intern Haley here with us. Hi, Haley.
Hi, how's it going?
But we also have the badass, the great Evan from the Midnight Horrors. Welcome, Evan.
That's right. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I know that you're a little nervous about this, but there's no reason to be nervous because this is all about you, man, and we're here for you. And so, talking about Midnight Horrors, how did the Midnight Horrors come to be, and how did you guys get started?
So, it was kind of an interesting jumble. My previous band, I had another kind of pop punk alternative band where I played bass, and we were together for 3.5, 4 years. Played just around kind of Colorado, and we ended up breaking up. And I was writing some kind of solo, like horror punk stuff myself. And I just kind of decided one day, I actually got hit up for a show opportunity. This one out-of-state musician was asking me if I could work out some kind of a show and jump on with him. And I was like, well, I mean, all of my stuff that I recorded is, I had like bass, drums, guitar, all this stuff, and I was just a one-man kind of thing. So it got me thinking, maybe I should build it into more of a band project and start playing out, because I love playing out. It's one of the best parts of making music, I think. So I ended up hitting up my old drummer from my previous band and guitarist and asking them if they wanted to come on and kind of fill out this horror punk project. And so we got it together for a practice, and then nothing. So I ended up, some things happened. It was kind of just a rough time for all of us, actually. So it was about 6 months past, and we didn't really do anything. And I ended up getting a hold of my drummer again, and he was interested in playing with us, but I'd already brought on another drummer. So my drummer ended up jumping onto the bass. So we started out as a trio and played out as a trio for about a year, I think. And about at that point, we lost our drummer. He left for school, went to Oregon. Steven's his name. He's a great guy. He's still playing some music around Colorado, so I'm kind of hoping that we can play together again in the future. So basically, so we lost our drummer. Ended up, my previous drummer jumped onto the drums for this project, the Midnight Horrors, and we ended up bringing in a friend of my drummer, who played back with my drummer in high school in a band. I couldn't tell you what their band name was. I'm sure it was something a lot cooler than the Midnight Horrors. Um, which, if you say the Midnight Horrors fast, it kind of sounds like something dirty, which we have to clarify a lot on stage.
To be fair, we have actually run into that same problem with talking about the show, because people believe we're the punk rock horror show, and we're like, no, horror. There's an extra R. It's no. So I think we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like that's something that you don't really. I think that just kind of proves that when you're coming up with a band name, you need to say it out loud a couple times, because like I don't think we did that when we settled on that name. At least it's to talk about.
Makes it memorable.
Yeah, you play in the Midnight Horrors? Yes, we do.
I mean, it's at the very worst.
Yeah. So then,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you can go.
I was just gonna say that it at least gives you a really creative name for an album or like a shirt idea, like the Midnight Horror, like question mark, and like it's kind of like, who is that?
Question mark.
It's really just the Midnight Horrors.
Yeah, you could have like the Midnight Horrors question mark, and then on the back like the actual name.
Instead of like the scarlet letter being like that, it can actually just be like MH, and like some sort of like pilgrim like woman from way back then wearing that type of outfit with an MH on it. That'd be cool.
Cool.
I'm copywriting that idea. I'm kidding. No, you
as we speak.
You should.
Anyways, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Continue with what you were saying.
No, it's all good. So, basically, at this point in the band, we were still a trio. We ended up, there was another band that had been inviting us to a bunch of shows. They were called Poets and Wolves. They just recently broke up, which is kind of sad. They weren't horror punk, but they were kind of an alternative indie band. Their guitar player, we started kind of shopping around, asking if we could get a second guitar player in the band to make it a 4-piece.
Right on.
Then Corbin, their Ports and Wolves guitarist or bassist, he was actually their bassist, hit us up. He wanted to play some guitar. We let him in, and then now we're bringing in a new bassist named Trevor. We've released 2 singles up to this point, which I think are good. I think that this EP is just sort of more kind of our sound. Like we've kind of come into our sound a little bit.
Right on. So we have actually, we've had a few bands come on that are horror punk as well and horror rock as well. And so there always tends to be this type of 2 different types of sounds. There usually is a very fast and brutal type of sound, even with influences of metal in it. Or there's a very slow, drawn out kind of like negative type of sound. Were these influences that you had to consider when writing your music? And if so, what have you done to make yourself stand out from that?
I mean, for me, I draw a lot of influence from all kinds of like punk, like pop punk to more kind of straight up punk rock bands. I guess my biggest influences would probably be Blitzkid is a huge influence. I'd say influence me most in kind of my music and songwriting and everything. It would be Blitzkid and the Alkaline Trio, which they're both a little bit more on the melodic side, I guess you'd say, skewing like pop punk, which like I like that. I just kind of, for the Midnight Horrors, I think that you hear a lot of that in our songs. We can be on the quicker side, but we tend to be, I guess, more in the mid range. Like our songs aren't crazy fast. They're more melodic, more. I try to make the lyrics mean something, and kind of use like the horror as a metaphor. I mean, I do write songs like that are inspired by horror movies, which a lot of bands kind of do that. Not all of our songs are that way. Like I'll draw life kind of things. Like I'll write songs about serial killers and fictionalized like serial killers and things like that to keep it fresh.
You talked about writing about serial killers and talked about pulling from real life. And the reason I brought up the serial killer one is what I want to ask you is in today's modern society, we're now more aware of everything that's happening around us. We're now more aware of the seedy things that also happen in our society. Do you get any criticisms from writing songs about serial killers as people coming to you saying, hey, you're promoting, this terrible type of thinking, the terrible things that they did? Do you face any of those criticisms? And if you do, how have you fielded those situations?
Pretty much just from my parents. No, like pretty much everybody that we've come across is pretty open. Like I haven't really run across anyone that's really questioned it. Since there's not a big horror punk community in Colorado, we found ourselves, we can't really play a lot of like shows with a bunch of other horror punk bands and horror punk like fans. So I think it's definitely like through the shows that we play that just don't quite like get it. I mean, they'll sort of like listen to us and be like, oh, that was interesting, and kind of go on their way.
Perfect. So yeah, I mean, that's really two things. First off, I'm glad that you have people that are really open to you about that. So that's good. I know that's kind of a big concern. People are just like, oh my God, it's about serial killers, blah, blah, the normal kind of criticisms that you would expect. But I do have to agree with you. We do have a weirdly small horror punk community here, and you would think that we would have a bigger one, considering that we were known as the psychotic state before the weed state, and we had so many crazy things happen here. You think eventually we would just be like, it is what it is. We put it into our music. So it is interesting that we're like that. But
you must get a decent amount of criticism, but also feedback just in general. And I know as a songwriter myself, sometimes your favorite song isn't exactly the audience's favorite song. And I was wondering what is your personal favorite work that you've done about all this passionate stuff versus what is the most popular song that's out there by your band, and why do you like the particular song that you do? I'm
kind of the type that whatever I'm working on, like the newest song, kind of my favorite, at least for a little while. Just because, you put so much work into it and it's something new. And I think it's just the sort of that, oh man, this is so much fun. And then you play it for a while and it's like, oh. But no, I mean, all upcoming EP are really fun to play. And I'm really proud of all of them. Just I think my favorite right now called The Unholy, just because it's kind of a little bit of an autobiographical song. In it is We Are the Horrors, the Midnight Horrors, but it's not really a song, I guess, that's limited to us. It's not just us singing about ourselves. And I kind of wanted a song where we reference our band name, because it just kind of works. But it also, I mean, it's just kind of a song about misfits and people that don't fit in and people that are considered to be weird by everyone else. It's just kind of being at peace with that, and accept.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of just rocking.
Yeah, it's cool how...
That'd be my choice.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool how a band can have such a different perception of their music every once in a while versus what gets across from the audience. Because you just know it on such a personal level.
Right.
So, the Midnight Horrors are hitting the ground running. You have a show coming up. Do you want to touch on that?
We're going to have an EP release show here on April 4th. We haven't announced, I mean, I guess this is the announcement. But we're still finalizing some details about that. We know the date and the place. It's going to be at Pinball Jones Campus West in Fort Collins. And then, yeah, we're just kind of throwing together some promotional stuff for the EP.
Beautiful. And so you have this EP coming out. You have these shows coming out. Overall, what has this experience been with getting this horror punk band started? What has it been going on this road with the Midnight Horrors? Because it definitely, going back to an earlier statement, you were talking about kind of how you had guys coming in and out and you were keeping this thing going mostly by yourself from what it sounded like. But what is the overall tone? What has this been like for you?
It's definitely kind of a roller coaster. I think we're reaching a point now that once we get this EP out, we'll have more music, just material to present to people. I'm really proud of it. I know that everyone else in the band is as well who worked on it, Chris and Corbin. So I know we're just hoping that we can really push this and get the word out, that there's actually a horror punk band in Colorado. Not to say that there's not others. Like, I know that there's some over like Pueblo and Colorado Springs, but here in northern Colorado, there's really not much. So maybe bring, kind of shine a bit of a spotlight onto that. But yeah, I mean, the road to this point, it hasn't been super easy. Like we said, there's not a big horror punk scene. So I mean, hopefully, best case scenario, we sort of help bring the scene to northern Colorado and bring it out a little bit and get some more bands going.
Ghouls, Gals, Creeps, and Mutants. You're hearing it here right now. The Midnight Horrors are wanting to get the horror punk scene on the map here in Colorado. And if you're here in Colorado, you know how you can help by not only just liking these dudes and listening to the Midnight Horrors, but going to their show. Before we close out the show today, though, I have to ask one question. It's the favorite question that we love to ask all of our bands that come on. And that is, what is the craziest story that you're willing to share and won't get you in trouble from a show that you have played or have attended?
So, that's a good question. As far as like our shows, we haven't really done too much crazy stuff to invoke anything bad happening. I was at an Argyle Goolsby and the Roving Midnight show about a year and a half ago. They were playing down at Moe's in Denver, and like Goolsby was having some trouble with the monitor, so he ended up just like picking up this like monitor and carrying it around the stage on his shoulder, because the sound guy couldn't get enough like sound through the monitor, so he was just like manhandling this monitor and dropping it and kicking it around and picking it up and throwing it. And then, out at the end of the show, the sound guy was not too happy about that. I think they kind of ended up piecing out from there pretty quick.
It would be punk rock if the sound guy wasn't pissed off, right? I mean, on a more serious note, though, Midnight Horrors are a fantastic band. You guys are still new, but you guys are making a lot of strides already. Your drive to keep this going means a lot to us. I mean, for one, the fact that you're horror inspired definitely makes us a little biased. But that aside, we love seeing artists and we love seeing musicians who are just passionate about what they do and continually work at it and continually push to it. Just because we do know that we have some of our listeners are younger and are in high school and kind of want to be in bands but aren't ready for the type of work that comes with it. So we love hearing from, guys like you who do kind of really put a better light on what it's like, on the fact that you have people that come in and out and that you have to be the driving force that keeps it going. I think that's amazing. Yeah. The last question I have for you is, what is a word of advice you want to give to a younger person who is wanting to keep their band going but might consider giving up?
Just keep on. If you really, I mean, it's a little bit cliched, but I think it's true. If you're passionate about what you're doing, my previous band wasn't horror punk, and like I just started doing it solo and then picked up these other guys. It's just about pushing forward, and if you're passionate about it and you keep on doing it, you'll find some people that are also passionate about it, and just surround yourself with those people. If you have somebody leave, just keep on pushing forward, and I mean, you'll find people that will fill in the spot. If you just kind of keep on rolling, it'll happen. And then the longer that you do it, it's like a business. Most businesses don't 5 years that they're out there. So that's kind of, I think, something that you have to keep in mind is just treat it like your own little business and keep on pushing, and you'll keep on just making some momentum, and you'll get somewhere.
Well said. And much in the same way that Field of Dreams has said it, if you build it, they will come. And in this case, Midnight Horrors is a great example of this. Evan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and Haley. Thank you for talking to us about Midnight Horrors. I wish the best for you and your band, and I hope to have you guys back on here again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us and putting up with us.
Nothing to put up with. We love you. All right, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants alike. Please check out Midnight Horrors. Give them a listen on Spotify or their BandCamp today. Buy an album from them. Go check out their shows. Check them out at Pinball Jones on April 4th. That's going to be an amazing show as well. Thank you again, Evan, and we will talk to you soon. There you have it, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants. That was our interview with the great band, the Midnight Horrors. Thank you again to our intern, Haley, for sitting with me on that one and helping me talk to them and learn more about the band. Want to kind of put a quick disclaimer real quick. This episode is actually supposed to come out earlier in February. Unfortunately, we ran into a lot of serious technical issues with our equipment. Our laptops are kind of starting to show their age a little bit, and so we just had a few issues. That being said, we are glad that we were able to come out with our episode and have them be our band showcase band of the month for the month of March. Again, they're a great band. They're awesome dudes. They're really cool. Evan's a very nice guy. And please check out their music. We're actually going to be jumping into 2 songs straight from their BandCamp, which, by the way, their BandCamp has a name your price policy, so I'm going to encourage all of you, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, to go over there and maybe just for more than $1, maybe like $5 a piece, buy these new tracks. So we're going to jump into Teenage Creature and Dead Moonlight.
Neon signs in your colony, between the devil and the deep blue sea. I swim away, but the melody remains. Empty pockets and plastic drills, golden coins for dollar bills, stolen fountains decorate my dreams. Oh, the nightmares of a teenage creature, nowhere left to go, nowhere left to hide, so I say, oh, the nightmares of a teenage creature, lost and all alone, wishing for a place to call my own. Ticket booths, they're calling me like a phantom in a mortuary. I close my eyes, but the rhythm, it remains. Lots of drugs and radios, pop on bags at horror shows, double features echo in my mind. Oh, the nightmares of a teenage creature, nowhere left to go, nowhere left to hide, so I say, oh, the nightmares of a teenage creature, lost and all alone, wishing for a place to call my own. Oh, the nightmares of the teenage creatures, nowhere left to go, nowhere left to hide, so we say, oh, the nightmares of the teenage creatures, lost and all alone, wishing for a place to gather. Oh, the nightmares of the teenage creatures, dying for a place, dying for a place to call our own. If I tell you that I love you, will you promise not to scream? If I show you all my scars, will you fight back and follow me? I've been running for my life since I first turned 17. Now I'm broke, homesick and broke, and bloodthirsty. That I miss you, can I say it's all my fault? If I lead them to your body, will you forgive me all my flaws? See, I've been running for my life since I first turned 17. Now I'm broke, homesick and broke. The dogs are calling out tonight. They're singing songs of blood, my delight. A shovel strikes a bone. The fingerprints of life in dead moonlight. The dogs they call tonight. Can you hear them singing? The dogs they call tonight. Can you hear them singing? The dogs they call tonight. Can you hear them singing? The dogs are calling out tonight. They're singing songs of blood, my delight. A shovel strikes a bone. The fingerprints of life